let's get to some fun stuff. Let's get to let's bring out the flamethrower, if you will.
Some busties?
Let's talk some busts, Eric.
Okay.
Who are some guys that you think are gonna fall flat? What signings were you like, man, this is awful, this team's gonna suck?
Well, I mean, Echo Fox, their first signing, Phoenix, immediate reaction, I was like, that's not how you rebuild a team. That you replace your best player with a guy who wasn't even in the LCS last year. He was in the challenger scene, and it doesn't make sense. Sure, he was fantastic at times with Liquid, and he was pretty solid with Goldcoin United. But I mean, Froggen is a fantastic guy, and the only way I can give them a break is if Froggen was like, hey, I'm not coming back. I'm not going to play next year. Okay, then you kind of have to sign someone. But if it's anything other than that, this is a crazy signing. I mean, he was hyped up so much when he came to Liquid, and it took him a while to get rolling. But he did have a fantastic split when Liquid finished first in the regular season. And, you know, he's getting quadra kills 1v4 against CLG. I don't know if he's going to get back to that. I think he definitely... That was a very short window where he was at his peak play like that, and for the majority of his time in the LCS, he was underwhelming, I would say, and I feel like that's going to happen again. He's going to be underwhelming in this LCS split, especially with the top-tier talent that's in the mid lane now, with guys like Febevin and Power of Evil coming in. You already got Bjergsen, you already got Jensen, who he has stepped up to be a premier mid laner. I mean, that's already half the league that is, like, substantially better than Phoenix, I would say.
Yeah, I feel like Phoenix wasn't Echo Fox's first choice. They were probably in talks with some of these other guys from Europe, PoE, Febby, and then they were like, well, we're probably looking at these other teams. So they go to Optic and they go to Clutch, and all of a sudden you're kind of left looking at the import pool, and it's very limited. Obviously, probably the top guy available is someone like Phoenix, or you can maybe look at Ryu, but then he went to 100 Thieves. So then you have the conversation, is it even worth going import? And they, I guess, decided that it was, since already their bot lane was domestic, their jungler was domestic, so they didn't have to go the Keen route, where you know what you're going to get with a guy like Keen, which is stability, but also nothing spectacular. So maybe take the upside risk of Phoenix, and it's like, okay, there's not much else available. Phoenix is okay, and we saw that at times, like in the game against CLG, that Azir play, where he turned around a 4v1 tower dive. He's got the potential to be solid, but it's just, when you look at initial signings and these big splash pickups come free agency, Phoenix was not one of them. And it was just like, oh, this Echo Fox team getting rid of Froggen and bringing in Phoenix, what's going on?
Yeah, again, it was pretty early on, and the first guy they signed to their roster was Phoenix. And yeah, initially it was like, oh, that is a bad taste that's how you're starting your roster. But now as we go through this whole offseason, you're kind of like, yeah, what else would they have gotten? Who else would they have gotten in that mid lane? It's pretty much Keen.
Yeah.
That's all that was left. I mean, with a guy like Fly going on Fly Quest, I'm never gonna get tired of that. No. I hope he stays there for 10 years on that team. But yeah, there's not really much else out there that they could have gotten with maybe some of these challenger guys and saved an import slot, but that's probably even riskier than going with Phoenix, who at least has proven himself, even though it's for such a small window. But again, I don't think he reaches that peak that he did for a short time on Team Liquid. I think he'll be underwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too, but at least he does have that LCS experience.
Right.
One thing, you know who else has a lot of LCS experience, Eric?
Who's that?
This is bot lane of Optic Gaming. Arrow and Lemonation, specifically Lemonation's been around since the beginning of time, it seems like. And I don't know how this is possibly starting bot lane in the LCS, but it is. It is, and it's going to cost Optic quite a bit, I think. Obviously, I heard they had other options in mind. Potentially, Sven and Mithy was in talks with Optic and TSM, and then once they went to TSM, Optic's like, oh, God.
We'll go with Plan Z.
Yeah.
Those are good numbers.
Yeah, these are some sick numbers. Lemonation, worst KDA of all NALCS starters. Is that good? No, it's not good. Lowest first play percentage, most deaths per game, fewest wards per minute, everything you want in a starting support. And then Arrow. Obviously, we know his laning phase wasn't good. We don't need to go specifically into the stats, but that's where he struggled. And the dip from spring to summer for him was pretty drastic, like a 1.5 KDA difference. from the two splits.
Yeah.
So, man, I mean, you take a bad laning AD carry with a bad laning support and someone who likes to die a lot, and you add them together.
Two negatives.
Make a positive.
It's a positive.
Or
Here
a
we go.
bigger negative, which they don't teach you in math class, but it's what I've always believed.
Well, there's no belief in math. It's all fact.
I guess.
Come
Show
on.
your work.
Show your work. The work is Optic's going to have a lot of work to do because that bottom lane is going to be behind probably every game. Every game for the entire split, that bottom lane might be behind. Listen, Lemonation, he knows. Obviously, he knows how to pick ban for the most part. He's a great strategic mind. He's been around for so many meta shifts and different changes. I think with all these new runes reforged, having a guy like Lemon working with your team is pretty great. Actually playing in the game, I mean, he's definitely been on a decline for a couple of splits now. I don't know. He's not as mechanically as bad as people put him out to be, I think. There's just some decisions that he makes in-game that are questionable when he's getting caught out like that, which kind of seems to be a theme with a lot of different supports, at least the last year, just kind of getting a little too balls to the wall for warding and dying for it. And Arrow, yeah, a guy who seems to need a lot of help in lane. And I don't know if Lemon is enough help. In fact, I know he's not enough help for him in lane.
Yeah, I mean, you look at some of these other bot lanes, Venom and Mythy coming into the LCS, Double Lift and Olay, Sneaky and Smoothie.
The TSM Optic game is look away.
Yeah, don't watch. Man.
I hope they don't show the bot lane, that whole broadcast.
It's just weird when you see that bot lane and then you look across the rest of the roster too, and it's like you have a Katie in jungle, fine. Zig is one of the less sought after top laners available. It's like, so why is your entire team just second tier signings?
PoE is going to have to basically get MVP of the split for Optic to make some noise.
Yeah, it's gonna be rough for sure.
Yeah.
So those are some guys who might put their team over the top or just sink them immediately.
The anchor, the three anchors are probably Phoenix, Lemon, and Arrow.
Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more esports content.